vibras? Cause we know the vibras.
Welcome back to another episode of the You Know the Vibras podcast. I'm the one and only Juan the Don, and as always, I'm accompanied by Michael Carrasco. What's good? We're back.
What's going
after,
on?
After getting the rustiness out of our systems.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
We're back on the roll here with a weekly episode for you guys. Back here on the platform. So
back to the normal programming.
What's going on, man?
Not much, man. I'm feeling good. I got to sleep in today. Didn't wake up until like late, so it's been a good day so far.
You look different, man. You look like a baby. Did you shave something? Literally, you shaved.
Yeah. So I've been trying to grow. I've been trying to grow it out, but for some reason, my jeans were not strong. My facial
it's still
hair,
crazy. Yeah, it's still crazy to me how Josh is younger than you and he got a full beard, man.
Facts, big fact. I still don't get it. I don't get the dynamics of it. So he's 19, full beard, and I'm struggling over here. I don't know what it is. So I just been, it's been growing, but the hair is too fine where it doesn't make sense for me to leave it out. So I just been shaving it down and letting it evenly grow back.
Word. Nah, that's what's up. So, I mean, nothing new going on in your life outside of the norm? Everything is still in order? Everything's the same?
Yeah, everything's going. I mean, apart from that, just looking at new job opportunities. That's about it, man. That's the only thing that been changing. I'm thinking about possibly switching careers. Just don't know which. I have a couple options. Just don't know which way to go. So I'm trying to, weigh my pros and cons of each, career move that I can potentially make.
Word. Nah, same thing, man. I mean, obviously looking for career jobs and everything always, but
right
here it's Chicago. There was a crazy week with the weather. I always feel like I talk about weather in Chicago. Yeah, we finally, well, not finally, maybe finally had our full taste of summer with a couple 100+ Fahrenheit days.
How did that feel?
Man, it was very, very overwhelming. I feel like the whole city was surprised. Man, it was like the streets were empty. I feel like people didn't want to leave their houses. It was in the middle of the week, obviously. But I don't think that Chicago was ready for it. But something that really caught me off guard, was people driving with windows down with this heat. I'm like, bro, y'all are psycho.
I mean, I understand. Yeah. No, I was gonna say I understand it here in Texas because it's the norm from like I want to say like April, May till like September, October. That's the norm. But out there, man, I would have thought y'all been dying and stuff, heat stroke and stuff like that.
I mean, I can't speak for everyone, but I'm saying it's just crazy to me how you drive with your window down.
Facts.
When it's that hot, because there's nothing but hot air coming into your car.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, unless you don't have an AC, then I guess that kind of makes sense.
I remember those days.
Damn, you had no AC?
Oh man, back in high school, man, my first car had no AC, man.
Damn, how'd you manage to get by, man?
Man, just roll the windows down.
But does that really help, though?
I mean, honestly, it depends how fast you'll be driving. I mean, sometimes because growing up in the Eastern Shore, we have a lot of trees, so that kind of helps cool it down a little bit. Yeah. So it wasn't horrible. It wasn't horrible, but it had its moments for sure.
Well, because that's something I was going to talk about, like you said. Because here, I guess that's what made it so hot. Because it was hot because staying in the shade was still hot. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I guess it's because the lack of green life, because it's a city.
Right. Yeah.
But yeah, man. So it was a very crazy week with the heat. 2 back-to-back days over 100 or something, and it's crazy. I had a couple softball games back to back in those 2 days. So out of all the days, the only 2 days that was hot as heck was the days I had to play. And after those games, let me just tell you, it looked like someone threw a bucket of water on my head. It was bad, bro. It was bad.
Yeah,
You know it's bad when your shirt starts sticking to your like body.
facts. Now that is
That's when you
facts.
sweating too much. But let's move on, man. First of all, I want to say thank you guys for sticking with us. Also thank you guys if you're new here for supporting us. Um, I know, like we said in the past, this is tough in the aspect of trying to stay engaged with the podcast due to it being virtual. But who knows? God willing, hopefully we could get something going back in person here soon. I'm trying to figure out how I can get to Houston and we could do some episodes for you guys. I know you guys rather that than this, but those who
Right,
are here watching, I genuinely appreciate you guys, or listening. I appreciate you guys for the effort and the consideration. But moving on, I do want to say this episode is going to be a bit different than normal. I mean, it's crazy because when we first started and the first couple of seasons as well, we really didn't do any current events. And now, like I said, since we have reached that 100 episode mark, it's kind of has been hard to just find conversations and yes,
right,
do current events. This is why we always ask you guys to comment, things you want to hear because we don't know what you guys prefer. If you'd rather a conversation, about life or, about anything, or a current event, based episode. So let us know in the comment what you prefer. But on the other hand, today's episode will be a conversation, I'd say maybe a debate, about life and about your where you live. So basically, it's going to
yep,
be a big city versus small town conversation. So, but since both of us has had the luxury of living most of our, if not all of our lives, um, in a small town, and now moving to a big city, I feel like this is perfect for us to converse on this and give our point of view, considering that some of you guys may be in the same position, and we do have a lot of people to listen from back home.
right.
So if you guys were thinking about making a move, we're gonna go over some pros and cons and some things that we have seen from first hand from a first hand with both. Before we get into that, I know you have a quote, so let's get the quote of the day out of the way, and then jump right into this conversation.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. So today's quote is by Harper Bennett, an author, an explorer, and photographer. Um, so the quote I wanted to relate to the topic, and the quote says, "Embracing a new city means stepping into a maze of unfamiliarity, where every twist and turn becomes a chance to find not only a path but also oneself." So
That's
that
true.
kind of brings it back to, like, although at least for me, it was coming to a new city. I have to adjust,
Yeah.
learn the local lingos,
Yeah.
understand, what can I do, what is acceptable in within the community and what's not acceptable, and that also made me, like, kind of like find myself a little more as well, because I found out things that I actually kind of was missing from my life, if that makes sense.
Yeah. And I think that's a perfect quote because I think amaze is the perfect description.
Hmm.
Especially when you're new to the big city, just getting you know around, getting
Right,
around. It feels like a maze because you could get lost so quickly, and at times you feel like you're stuck. Because you don't know how to get out of the
right,
maze. And
right.
it's really a maze of towers. You know what I'm saying? So instead of a maze of corn, cornfield, it's a maze with big towers.
With
So
towers,
I think
yep.
I think that's true because my first time driving in downtown was so overwhelming, and man, I'll be honest with you, the world without GPSs would be. I don't know how you guys did it in the past if you
Man,
lived that, but
100%.
it's tough, man. It's really tough. It's funny you say 100%. Everybody loves that you say 100%. Everybody wants 100% merch. By the way, I just want
Oh,
to
we
put that
getting
in there.
them. We getting
But
them.
but but yeah, nah. I think that's a perfect quote. It's really spot on. And yeah, I think that's good enough. Let's just jump right into this, man. So yeah, big city versus small town. Uh, what's your opening statement on this, man?
Man, I'm gonna say, man, it's definitely when you first move into a big city, it's definitely a culture shock, man. Like, like I said with the quote, it's just adapting to it, and then and that's why I want to start with something that didn't really caught me by surprise, but something that I hate about being in a bigger city, and that is traffic, man. Coming, from a small town, you probably have probably what, like 20,000 people living in that area, where over here, we have millions of people living within an area. So, 5 o'clock traffic and no joke.
Yeah, I mean, and the thing with a small town, there's always more than likely going to be back roads that you could take,
Right.
maybe, or ways that you could avoid traffic, unless you're going to like something that includes a bridge. Then you're kind of like
Facts.
stuck in it. Something I would say, I think I've had talked about previously about Chicago with this is that there's many ways to get to your destination.
Right.
So for as a big city, I definitely think Chicago. Well, it's because they have the grid system. That's what it's called.
Hmm.
And with the grid system, after the Chicago fire, they had replanned the city and came up with the grid system, which is a way to be able to get through the city effectively by many ways.
Hmm.
So I think Chicago's one of those cities that definitely, even with traffic, there's ways that you could avoid it. Although it may be longer or further, mile wise, it still might be faster than the traffic.
Yeah, and
But yeah,
no, I agree with that. Like once you learn your way around, it's a lot easier because now I live, close to one of the main highways, and I already know 5 o'clock. Yeah, I'm not touching that. So
yeah,
I had to learn. Okay, I can take this street, go a couple miles, and then I'm technically home, and I avoid all the traffic. So
yeah,
that's one of the thing, because back home we have back roads. If we didn't want to take 50, we go through the back road, we end up in the same spot.
hmm,
But just having the ability to, let's say, okay, I already know there's going to be traffic on this road. These are the alternate roads that I can take. It kind of
yeah.
makes it easily to navigate.
Nah, yeah. And you mentioned lingo. I wanted to touch on that because that's something that I wouldn't say necessarily caught me by surprise, but made me want to learn quick, adapting to the city. And that's just lingo driving wise or in the
Hmm.
streets, like learning street names again. That's something that was huge for me, having to learn street names because people would be like, oh, it's on this street and this street. You know how they pair streets?
Yeah, yeah, yeah,
So
yeah.
for instance, it'd be like LaSalle and Ohio, like two streets. You know what I'm saying? Like it's on there. Like I never had to deal with that, because I mean, back home, like
We say,
it's
yeah,
just
it's on Main Street, like over
or they'd
here.
be like or you'd be like the Walmart on the south side or Walmart on the north side or whatever.
Right.
You kind of would know, because you just grew up there.
Yeah,
Or
and
like you
it's
said, like the west side, whatever. Like it's that's easier. But I feel like people that live here grew up here in the big city or grew up in a big city. Sorry, um, they grow up with that too, that lingo. Like in New York, they go by like the the number system.
right.
So it could be like 63rd or whatever. You know what I'm saying? Like 100, whatever. And they know what they're talking about. So I feel like that's something that was very something I had to pick up quick was the lingo with street names and how to maneuver in the city.
Right.
Um,
And for me was like the names of it, because I'm not gonna lie, out here there's some streets that have some weird names. Like there's this I would say main, like it's not necessarily a highway, but it's a like a main avenue.
yeah.
So if you look how it's spelled, you will say Quakendall, but it's actually
Hmm.
Kirkendall.
Right.
And I was seeing a meme about that. I was like, "This is how you know somebody is either from out of town or they from Houston."
Yeah. Um, no, but I want to continue. But let's get a little bit. Let's leave more of the because people don't know these street names and stuff we're talking about.
Hmm.
Let's be more relatable. So small town
Yeah,
versus
yeah, yeah.
big city. And you said traffic. I'm gonna go with parking. So being
Mm,
from a small town, I feel like I didn't really value the free parking, and the amount of parking that is
right,
is available to us. Um, in the big city, you have to deal with paying for parking.
right.
Um, and it's something that is very is humbling, because at the time, like, when you have something like parking, available for you in a small town, you kind of don't really think about it as much. But once you get to a big city, you're gonna see, you should have appreciated it way more, and you saved a lot of money, which
Facts.
also brings up the uh, the amount that how the price, so the pricing. So in a big city, automatically everything just becomes more expensive, compared to a
Mm-hmm.
small town. Uh, I don't even know how to. Like, let's say McDonald's, for example. Let's say a double cheeseburger, in a small town costs you like $2 or whatever. Big city is gonna cost you probably like $5 or $6. You know what I'm saying? So it's just like automatically things that you were used to paying a certain price in a big city, you're gonna pay for way more. Also, you can, regular health stuff, the deodorants or whatever, add a couple dollars to that. You know what I'm saying? Also,
Right.
it's funny. I've seen people on Facebook back home talking about uh, they have to pay for bags now. That's something that caught me by surprise when I first moved here.
Mm-hmm.
Was paying for bags. Um, and you would see people. I always was confused seeing people here walk to the stores with bags. I'm like, what the heck? So it's like you take reusable bags, so you don't have to pay for bags. So now something that I had to get used to is already making its way to the small towns. Now you have to pay for bags. I heard, so that's crazy.
Yeah, like a
But yeah,
couple cents. Yeah.
so what do you think about the first off parking situation, and then what do you feel about the pricing increase from small town to
Yeah.
big city?
I mean, definitely the price increase. I mean, certain
It's
things.
expected though.
Yeah, it's definitely expected. You know, being in a bigger city, of course, everything's gonna be cheaper. Not cheaper, more expensive compared to a small town. Um, the main thing I would say I kind of had to adjust is just groceries, because over here, although there's no tax on like groceries per se, it is a little more than like back home. But then again, there's certain things that you compare just because I'm in the South. Some things are actually cheaper here than what they are back home, just because of where I'm at.
hmm You mentioned that really quick. I did want to touch on taxes, like you said. So
Hmm.
there are a lot of random taxes just for being
Right.
in a big city. That's something I would say, from a small town, you're not used to. Like a freaking, you buy a case of water, you're not expecting a water tax or bottle tax.
Right.
That's two different taxes. Like, what the
Right.
heck? You know what I'm saying? So you get all these random taxes, out of nowhere. And something that, say for instance, you would have paid $20 for, now you're paying
Like
$28
23.
for, or not
Yeah.
even more. They're like even more, yeah. So because you add those and then the sales tax, you know what I'm saying? So it's
Yeah,
a lot
that's
of
another
taxes that
thing,
just
man.
accumulate.
The sales tax, man. Like I know you guys are sales tax is high, ain't it?
Yeah,
Yeah, because I'm coming from a no sales tax at all area.
right,
So
right.
over here, I'm like, man, I gotta get used to paying taxes again. But you can be strategic with it. Like, for example, like I said over here, I don't know if it's just Texas or just Houston, but when you're buying like groceries, if it's like produce or like meats and stuff like that, you don't get
hmm
charged a tax. You only get charged tax on like I want to say like other stuff like household items that you need, like detergent and stuff like that.
hmm Not facts. Another thing as well, that you kind of figure out, between the two. From a small town, I feel like everyone and having a car is essential,
Oh
to get
yeah,
around. In a big city, it's common for people not to have a
not to
car
have a car.
whatsoever.
Yeah.
So the whole transportation aspect is a massive thing that we should talk about,
Mm-hmm.
because, like, I'm not gonna lie to you. without a car in Chicago, I feel like I would be lost because I never have done the train system, like the bus system.
Right,
So it's
right.
like it's something that like for people that are grew up here know how to use it, but like someone from a small town that's dependent on a car, you know, is like super confusing
It's
to
like
them.
how does the L work?
Yeah, exactly. So it's something that I think is important to talk about. Like in a big city, you're gonna see way more people using the metro
Hmm.
system or the bus system as to riding a vehicle, or even modern day Ubering, Lyft, taxi, stuff like that of that sort. Which back home, it's like now that I think about it, like I don't think I've seen, honestly, this is crazy. But I don't think I've ever seen an Uber in Salisbury.
Well, I seen it because of my going out days. You know, like
Like
I
I'm
used to
saying,
take
like
the. Yeah, you don't really. It's not that popular because the only place where we grew up that you will see Ubers is Ocean City.
yeah, I
Ocean
mean that
City,
that makes
Rehoboth.
more sense
Yeah,
because
that's a
people are
given.
tourists; they don't have a car.
Exactly. But
Yeah.
like when it came to like Salisbury, yeah, man, not really.
Like in the aspect of what I'm basically trying to say is, like in a big city, you'll see a lot of cars driving around with the
With the Uber
Uber,
sticker.
exactly, or Lyft. But in Salisbury, I really don't remember anybody driving with the Uber sticker, bro.
I
Now that I
probably
think
seen like
about it,
one or two.
that's what I'm saying. Which they're probably there, but you probably won't make no money because everyone drives
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
unless you
Unless
go around
college
nightlife.
kids.
Yeah,
Yeah, and the
exactly,
college kids. That would be the only time that people would like quote unquote make money with that. But
exactly.
yeah, man, that's true. Over there, man, I see more DoorDash than anything.
Right. Well, but yeah, man, I think the so that's something. So you can factor this in to expenses because in a way, it's kind of crazy. I don't know what's better in this scenario. Is it better for in a small town to have a vehicle? Like which saves more money? Small town have a vehicle, big city no vehicle but spend money on Ubering, and other transportation.
Man, I would say it all depends on like what you do, right? Like for me, so we got rid of one of the cars. We got rid of my car. Just because, and they didn't really get rid of it. Little brother lucked out and got a really nice car.
Hmm.
But for us, it was like I'm getting a company car, so I get around in the company car when I'm at work. I don't for my commute to work, so I didn't really need that car. But if we're looking at it, like over here, all depends where you are. Like location is a big thing. Let's say if you're in downtown and you work downtown, man, you're gonna save money by not having a car because you can get around. Almost everything is there. The clubs, groceries. You can literally walk to the grocery store. Um, what else?
Hmm.
Restaurants are nearby. So if you're like in the middle of downtown, I would say you'll save more money, um, not having a car. And I mean, in a small city, I would say like the small town, it's I would say it will be cheaper to own your car because let's say you have to literally drive everywhere, although gas and all that. But at the end of the day, if you total out your monthly cost, like let's say your car payment is like $300, and then you're spending like $80 on gas, that's 380. Versus let's say if you are a person that frequently goes out or have to drive pretty far for work, each override, let's say on average, is like anywhere from $7 to $20. That adds up pretty quick.
I mean, more than that, more than that. I
Yeah.
mean, big city with no surging price, you could
Hmm.
still be looking at 20 plus, for
Right. Depending on the
10
distance,
15
traffic,
minute
and all that.
drive, you know what I'm saying? So,
Right. Right. I mean,
um,
it all depends on the location. I mean, for sure, in a small town, it's going to be cheaper for you to own your car. In a big city, it all depends. Like, are you more on the outskirts of the city, or are you like in the middle or
it
in
might be
downtown?
cheaper. It might be cheaper because you spend less on gas. And that's
Mm-hmm.
another thing that you've realized, small town versus big
Right.
city, the gas price is different by a massive margin.
Oh yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
so that's something. So you save, so you save more on gas in a small town, and you don't use that much on gas because you're not going that far. You know what I'm saying? Because everything in the small town is close by. Also, you don't have to deal with the start and stop, so much from
Mm-hmm.
traffic.
Yeah, but it's mainly like either you're in the back roads or you're on the quote unquote highway.
Yeah, but then again, I don't know. I think it all depends because big city, you work for a corporation or office, company, whatever. They pay for your Uber, so it's like it's
Right.
all like I don't know. All depends. You know what I'm
I feel
saying?
like it's more of a lifestyle thing. Like, where do you work? Where are you living?
Okay, how about this? How
And
about
all
this?
that.
I feel like in a way, in my opinion, a small town, with a car is more beneficial
Oh,
in a way
100%.
because you have the luxury of having a vehicle. And in the big city, if you're dependent on taxis or transportation from buses or whatever, um, you could be late. You could run the risk of being late due to
Mm-hmm.
traffic, or also things being packed or taken up, or a high
Right.
demand.
Right. You know what I notice here, especially for people that live like in near the downtown area, just riding your bike to work, man.
Yeah, I see a lot of bikes as well, scooters.
Mm-hmm. I see
Uh,
definitely a lot of those scooters. That's kind of a smart move, man. Especially because some of
mhm,
those scooters go up to like 60 miles per hour, man. That's kind of
mhm,
a smart move.
right. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Um, you have another one? I have another one, by the way.
Yeah, yeah. So, I mean, one thing that I really like about being in a bigger city is just entertainment, man. Like different festivals going on. Uh, Almost every single day, there's something different that you can go try and do,
Oh
and
yeah.
you don't have to stick to the same old thing. Like for us, brewery we're on Tuesdays, on Thursdays, warehouse
Us.
on Fridays. Well, at least when I was when I was in that era. But and then like let's say if we wanted to go to a festival, we always have to drive across the bridge. For those that don't know, in Maryland, that's the Bay Bridge. We have two sides, and when we cross it, we say we're going across the bridge. Um, so for like festivals or anything like that, you had to go across the bridge, unless once a year we had like man, what's some of the events that we had? We had the fair, that I think they stopped doing, right?
Yeah, I don't know. The trash.
Yeah, three rides that we could ride, and that's it. Then they have like the wine festival, beer festival, and stuff like that. But all the stuff is just once a year. When you're in a big city, man, I feel like every single day they have a wine festival.
Yeah. So touching on that, I definitely think that entertainment is better in a big city, and it's
Mm-hmm.
obvious, but I mean, it
100%.
makes sense. In aspects of concerts, like say if you're a concert person, I feel like a big city is perfect for you because you could expect your favorite artist to come, and visit your big city. Now, when you're in a small
100%.
town, you run the risk of never seeing your favorite artist
Right.
unless you drive a couple hours. And in our scenario, when we were in a small town, well, in Salisbury, you'd have to drive to DC, to Philly, maybe even New York,
To New York.
to
Yep.
see celebrities or concerts or whatever, big festivals. Um, and that's something that even like sporting events, like professional
Mm-hmm.
sporting events, you'd have to drive across the bridge to see NFL games or MLB games,
Baseball. Yeah.
NBA
NBA
games.
games.
So when you're in a big city, it's
Too
it's
much to
it's
do.
right there. It's right there at your disposal. Like it's at your, it's right there at your reach.
Mm-hmm.
Um, all of these things, and it's honestly, bro. How can I say this? Like, it's one of those things that, like, living in a big city from afar, you're like, man, you have all these things. Like, man, you're probably doing so much, but it's like from a
It's
distance, like
overwhelming, bro.
it's overwhelming. So it's like from a distance, you'd be like, man, if I was living there, I'd be going to this, that, that, that. And
Right.
then you're there and you have it at your access and you don't go. Like it's just like, damn,
Facts, man.
it's
Facts. Nah, I
crazy.
agree with that, man.
It's not cheap. It's not cheap.
It's not cheap. That's one. And then you just get it. For me, just it's so overwhelming because there's just so much you can do. Like,
Yeah.
I can go to a basketball game tonight, or I could go to the this
Concerts.
museum. Yeah, exactly. It's just like you get stuck. Like, okay, what I want to do at the end of the day, you're like, you know what, man, I'm just gonna stay home.
Yeah. Now that's something that really caught me by surprise. Was the amount of concerts that are in big cities, man. Cause like,
Especially in
wow.
Chicago, man.
Oh my God, man.
I noticed you guys over there, you guys, festival like every other weekend.
Yeah.
A
Well,
lot
no,
of
damn near. Yeah. I mean, every weekend.
every weekend.
Yeah.
You have all type of concerts happening.
Yeah.
Um, like when I went a few weeks ago, you guys had the Lollapalooza going on,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Exactly.
then
Festival. Yeah.
what after I left, you guys had some other stuff going on. So that's pretty
Well,
cool.
so it's in a way, it's a bit like you said, overwhelming because you don't know
Hmm.
which one to go to. Like for
Right.
instance, super random, but yesterday, well, yeah, yesterday. What was it yesterday? I don't remember, but yeah, they had like the Jonas Brothers. No, not yesterday. The Jonas Brothers and Little Baby in two different areas. So it's like, damn, like you know what I'm saying.
Right.
Which one do you choose? So
Which
it's
one do
like,
you choose? Yeah.
I mean, not saying that I was debating between those two, but it's just like it's that at people's reach. Like, there's always more than one concert going on, even three, and you don't know which one to go to. Um,
Right.
Even Arcangel was in the mix. You know what I'm saying? So it's like so many
Yeah,
like
man.
concerts, you don't know which one to choose. But really quick, moving on, man. But that is a good point, like you said, is the entertainment. I think that's huge in these two.
100%.
Because in a small town, like you said, it's not as
You're limited to
accessible.
what you see.
You're
Yeah. And
limited. Even nightlife, you know what I'm saying? Nightlife is another
right.
thing. There's a lot more variety in a big city as to in a small town. You have the one club everybody goes to, and you see the same people
People
every
every
day.
day.
You know what I'm saying? Same like I feel like in a small town, you're more prone for regulars than a big
Hmm.
city, where there could
Right.
be tourists in the city, people trying a new place out or whatever. Which shifts over to what I wanted to talk about is the friends and family aspect of the two.
Mm.
Um, I feel like in the small town, it's more of like a tight knit community.
Right.
Um, I feel like
You hang out with
you
your
could
peoples.
when you hang out with your people, and you can go out and run into someone more often
Right.
than usual. The big city is hard, man. Like
You
it's even
never see
hard.
the same people twice.
Yeah, yeah. So it's actually pretty different. I would say that's one of the big things that I do miss is like the familiarity with a lot of people.
Hmm.
Also, like having like your OGs, and kicking back with the OGs and stuff like
Right.
that. So and then the younger generation that you're now seeing grow, like
It's like, oh
not being
man.
able to be around when you see them grow up.
Yeah.
So yeah, that's something that I would say, like in the big city, although you try to make friends and stuff like that, it's like unless you grew up in a big city, it's very hard to like have a solid big group of like people, you know what I'm saying,
I agree.
as to in a small town where you have that nice tight knit community.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. Because like you said, everybody does the same thing. Where over here, it's like, you can go to a street and it's just all different thing that you can do for that night when it comes to nightlife. Versus over there, we had what we had. There's brew. There's probably like five different spots that everybody pick and chooses from, or everybody
Hmm.
goes. Okay, at this time, people go this to this place, and vice versa. And that's your
Hmm.
nightlife. Well, over here,
Right,
it's like, okay, which spots are we going to go to, which one is
right,
going to have any deals today, and things like that.
right. Yeah, facts. And also something else I want to touch on really quick was the this is super random, but the food component. You're
Ooh.
more prone to spend money eating out in a big city. As to in a small town, you're more prone to home cooked meals and stuff like that.
a hundred
Why?
percent.
Because in a small town, you have all of the same chains, Applebee's, freaking Chili's,
Chili's.
like all of these chain restaurants,
Mm-hmm.
IHOP, and then all the fast foods. Where in a big city, you have more like local stuff,
Oh yeah.
small like bars,
Mm-hmm.
tapas, stuff like that. It's
You
it's
got the
crazy.
food
Like
trucks,
food
all that type of
trucks,
stuff, man.
food festivals, all of this stuff. So
Yes.
so you're more prone to eat out because
Mm-hmm.
there's always something new for you to try.
100%. Nah, I agree, man. Like over here, I tried. Over here, I had tried. Dominican restaurants. Uh, like a bunch of Mexican restaurants. That is just so much variety that you can pick and choose from. Um, and then for me, I'm a foodie, so I'm gonna put it out there. I love food, so for me, it's hard not to eat out. It's like, oh, okay, I gotta cook. We gotta chill on the DoorDash shoulders. We gotta we gotta stay in today. But yeah,
Mhm.
man, that's one thing that I like, but at the same time, I don't like because you are spending more money on food.
Exactly. And but yeah, that's something that is very refreshing, I'd say,
Mm-hmm.
when you get to a big city and you have options. You know what I'm
Yes.
saying? Not,
Yes.
not, not because like when you're in a small town, I feel like everyone goes to the same spots, and then the
Mm-hmm.
things get repetitive, and
Mm-hmm.
like it's boring. And I feel like once it gets to that point, that's when you want to like, you
Branch
start,
out.
yeah,
Yeah.
want to branch out exactly. And I think that was the reason, just because you just get tired of the same thing. So that's something that I did want to touch on, man, was the repetitiveness.
Mm-hmm.
As from a small town, repetitiveness in the aspect of your lifestyle, and your day by day. As to in a big city, every day is a new challenge. Every day is something unexpected. Every day is an adventure.
Mm-hmm.
So that's something that I did want to touch on. Um, that's the pro I'd say for a big city, and the con I'd say from a small town is that in a small town, um, you just get overwhelmed with the same stuff that you wake up, what's gonna happen.
Exactly.
Big
It's like a
city,
more routine,
exactly, it's more of a
lifestyle.
routine lifestyle, exactly. In the big city, it's a huge question mark every day, which for those that live their life, you know, like that, I think is perfect. You know what I'm saying? If you're a curious person. And the good thing is the big city is that there's always going to be endless opportunities.
Mm-hmm.
Um, as to in a small town, is limited, because there's more, how can I say, like a smaller job market, so and there's
Right.
more people for the job market. As to in a big city, it's a ton of jobs, and although it is competitive, there's always going to be something for everyone.
For everybody. Yeah. No, I agree. I agree 100%. And the
Awkward
other,
silence.
one thing I did want to touch on is networking, man. I feel and we kind of kind of touch base on this since you are meeting new people every single day. You get a lot more opportunities of running into like a celebrity, running into somebody that you admire, or even running into people that that you probably are looking to get to where they're at, and you have more access to more people with success as well, so you can easily meet anyone and possibly network with them. That's I would say that's a big pro when it came to moving to a big city, um it, especially depending on which industry you are.
Right. Now, something even bigger than that is that this is, I feel like, is the perfect final thing I feel like that I want to end on, for me at least. Um in a small town, you're prone to get comfortable.
Right.
As to in a big city, it's prone to push you to want to do better and to want to reach that better version of yourself, because there's so many opportunities, you see so many people doing good, you see so many people living great, and it makes you want to get to that level. As to in the small town, everyone is like at the same level, and the one
Right.
person that's
Yeah.
doing great, everyone knows, you know what I'm saying? So it's like
Exactly.
it's like, oh, okay, so and so's doing this, but like in a big city, you're kind of pushed to do better. If not, you will
Mm-hmm.
fail hard, because if you're not making money and you're in a big city where things are expensive, things could get
Right.
rough. So it kind of like has you like on your toes every day, where you gotta find opportunities and find things that are gonna make you richer and better as an individual as well
Hundred
in a big
percent.
city.
I agree 100%. That I mean that's a great way to end it right there. Uh, I agree with that.
Yeah, because it got to the point, being from a small town, where I could say we both felt somewhat comfortable,
Mm-hmm. hundred
way too
percent.
comfortable, I'd say.
Yeah.
And it just got to the point where when you want more, you got to just take that risk. And hey, if it's meant to happen, it's meant to happen. If it's not meant to happen, you're young, no responsibilities, move on and try something else.
Mm-hmm.
That's one thing, a piece of advice I do want to say and give to many, is that if you are, out of college, no responsibilities, no kids, no, none of that, no ties, take a risk, man. The least that could happen is something great for you, and if nothing great happens, then you at least had the experience, and with some of that experience you could use to your future endeavor. So it's something that I feel like it's very beneficial to all, is taking a risk of moving to something that's out of your comfort zone. That
Right.
way you get pushed into being a better individual and reaching your full potential, based on, getting out of that comfort zone and trying to climb and get to your goals, which in a big city you're going to be pushed to get to those goals for sure. 100%.
100%. I agree, brother. Oh man, we're gonna put down a T-shirt. We're gonna put the my face on it. But yeah, I agree. Being in a bigger city for me is like, man, I'm into sports cards, and I see them every day. It's like, man, okay, how can I
Sports
get there?
cards.
Sports cars,
I was like, wait,
like
what?
exotics, like the
Oh,
Lambos, AMGs and all that. I see them every day compared to back home, and it's like, okay, I want to be there, and that pushes me every day to find different ways where I can invest my time and my money into something that's gonna take me there. Where back home it's like, okay, everybody drives a goddamn Hyundai, damn near I feel, or a Nissan,
mhm.
and you're like kind of stuck there. It's like, okay, I mean, I don't need to be that lavish. I use drive a regular car, so you kind of get, like you said, you get comfortable. And then in the big city you're seeing what is possible, man. Seeing a Rolls Royce is like, damn, man, I need that. So you get that, kind of opens your minds a little more, and that's why I say moving to Houston was a really good move, just because I'm exposed to a lot more things, and it motivates me to actually push and work on the businesses that I'm building, and just try to reach that next level where hopefully we can have a the Vivitas Rolls Royce edition, or
Damn.
yeah, we're going all
Golly.
out.
Facts. Nah, but that's good. I think we can end it right on there. Now that's perfect. Let us know how you guys felt about this conversation. We could do future, verses, conversations. Let us know in the comments which future verses would you like to hear. Anything you guys want to hear, literally just put it in the comments. We will talk about, and you might get us, the Viva shout out. Hey,
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
But yeah, make sure you guys like this video. Like we said, comment something that you took away from this comment, if you agree or disagree with us. And most importantly, as always, remember to subscribe and let's vibe. 100%.
Moli paz.